So first is the system message, then the user message. So we will return chat client dot hello and welcome. Let's start with understanding about what are prompts. So here is the agenda. First, we start with the introduction of the topic of prompts. Next, we will be doing the project setup where we will be implementing our use case. And next, we discuss about the important concepts of prompt, for example, prompt class, message class, roles, and prompt template. Finally, we will start with the implementation of the use case and then we will conclude this video. So what is prompt? Well, prompts are essentially input provided to the AI models to guide their generation of the output, whether it be text, images, code, or any kind of data. They provide context, instructions, or cues for the model to understand the desired task or generate the desired content. The quality and specific intent of prompts can significantly influence the output of AI models. Why so? This is because the prompts shape the understanding and response of the AI models. In a nutshell, it's very fair to say that prompts are a medium of communication to the AI models. Better the medium, better the communication, and better the results. The structure of prompt has been evolving over time. Initially, prompts were simple strings. Now, it's possible to pass around some form of intent as well along with the prompt. Of course, the intent part is also conveyed using strings, but the key thing to note here is that now AI models are capable of interpreting the intent clearly and act accordingly. Few examples of a guiding intent could be: imagine that you are an expert professional in digital marketing with 10 years of experience. With all this experience, I want you to help me in drafting a plan for creating a marketing campaign. After this prompt, the rest of your requirements follow, where you ask the actual question to the AI model. So now let's do a quick project setup. In order to set up the project, we will come to start.spring.io. I will be selecting Maven as the build tool. Language would be Java, and this is the version that I'll choose. Then in this case, I will choose com.shandilya.codes, and this could be a prompt. Maybe call it as Spring AI prompt demo. Then call this as Spring AI prompt demo project, and packaging would be jar, version would be 17. And let's start with adding the dependencies. So I will be needing the web dependency because I'll be creating a controller to showcase the final outcome. Then the next thing that we need is a dependency for the OpenAI. So I'll choose this one, OpenAI. Now we will click on the generate button. As the next step, we will extract this project and import in the IDE. So I'll see you in the IDE. So we are in the IDE with the project imported, and here is the folder structure that has been created for us. So this is the dependency that we have now. So we have a web dependency, we have a OpenAI starter dependency, and a tester dependency, the usual ones. In order for us to make use of the OpenAI APIs, we'll have to provide our API key with the OpenAI. If you are not sure how to create this API key and what are the ways in which you could avoid certain errors involved while using this API key, you can check our previous video in this playlist. I'll provide a link in the description. Now let's get going. So the key is spring.ai.openai.api-key, and here you will be providing your key which you will be generating on the OpenAI platform. So with this setup in place, we should be good to start demonstrating the uses of prompts using Spring AI. Now let's discuss about the prompt class. The prompt class serves as a container for a list of message objects, with each one serving as a segment of the overall prompt. Every message represents a unique role within the prompt. This kind of setup facilitates a detailed and intentful interaction with the AI model. It is common to use the call method of the chat client class, which takes a prompt object and returns a chat response. Next is the message class. So the message interface encapsulates the following. The first is the textual message represented as content, then the collection of attributes which is represented as a map, and then we have categorization which is known as the message type. Essentially it's an enum, and after that we have list of media objects, and this is for the models which are multimodal, as in they support any other form of communication as well, for example images, audio, etc. The different implementations of the message interface corresponds to different categories of messages which an AI model can process. Some models from OpenAI distinguish between message categories based on the conversational roles, which we will be discussing later on. So what are roles? Well, prompts are more than just a wrapper over strings. They pack more information such as intent, content, context, etc. The roles are represented by the enum message type. OpenAI introduced a more organized structure towards prompting where each prompt also contains certain role. These roles essentially categorize the messages, clarifying the context and purpose of each segment of the prompt for the AI model. And this structuring enhances the effectiveness of communication with the AI. So in the system role, what we have is that this role guides the AI's behavior and response style. Using this role, we can also set the rules for how the AI interprets and replies to the input. It is same as providing instructions to the AI before initiating a conversation. Next is the user role. This role represents the user's input, which could be their question, commands, or statements to the AI. This is the actual content of the interaction with the AI model. The assistant role represents the AI's response to the user's input. More than just an answer to the question being asked, it's also crucial for maintaining the flow of the conversation. By tracking the AI's previous response, which are essentially its assistant role messages, the system ensures coherent and contextually relevant interactions. The function roles are something which deals with a specific task or operations during the conversation. While the system role sets the AI's overall behavior, the function role focuses on carrying out certain actions or commands the user asks for. It's like a special feature in the AI which is used when there is a need to perform a specific function such as calculation, fetching data, or other tasks beyond just talking. This role allows the AI to offer practical help in addition to conversational responses. So what is prompt template? Well, it's a key component for creating prompt templates in the Spring AI. It's a class which makes use of Spring Template Engine, and using this class we can create structured prompts which could be sent to AI models for processing. Now let's create a small feature using the Spring AI where we will be sending certain AI requests to OpenAI using the prompt. Building the feature where we will be building an application using the Spring AI, and using the prompt we will be making certain calls to the OpenAI APIs. So in order to do that, let's start by creating a package. Let's call this package as controller, and inside the controller let's have something as prompt test controller. Let's annotate this as a REST controller, and then let's have a request mapping as v1 AI. We need to have a dependency of the OpenAI chat client. We can also have the chat client itself, but since we are directly making use of the OpenAI chat client, it's better to have the dependency for the same. Let's auto-wire the dependency using the constructor injection. And once this is done, let's start creating a controller method. So what I'm thinking for this controller method is that I should be able to pass a topic to the OpenAI, and it should be able to tell me some random fact about the topic. So here is what we can give for the mapping. So it can be /facts followed by topic, and it could return a map of string followed by string. Let's call it chat, and we have a path variable, so that is topic, and it's represented by this topic. Let's have the string, call it as prompt, and it's tell me a random fact about topic. So what we can do next is we can create a prompt template out of this prompt message. So let's have a prompt template, call it as template, new prompt template, and we can pass the prompt string in this one. And now we can add the placeholder for the topic, which was topic, and the value, which is topic. So basically this is your placeholder, that is the key, and the value which is coming from the path variable is this topic. What we can do next is return map.off, and the key could be a fact string, and the value could be chat client dot call template dot render. So essentially, once we have the template ready, we can call the render method, and that render method returns us a string, which is the final string which will be given to the chat client in order to make the call. And what we should expect back is that this particular string will be replaced by whatever topic we are providing in the path variable. And once we have the prompt string, we create a template out of it. We replace the topic placeholder using the topic path variable, and finally we call the .render method on the template, which generates the final string which will be passed to the OpenAI API, and then we call the .call. So chat client.call will take this string and make a call. So now let's run it and see how it's coming up. So in order to run it, let's go here and let's run it in debug mode. So let's go to the Postman, and this is our first controller endpoint topic. And let's imagine I want to learn something about AI. Let's hit enter. So here is the outcome. One interesting fact about AI is that it has potential to blah 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 blah, and we are getting the outcome basically. How about let's something about robot. So it gives certain information about the robots. So here what we saw is that we are going to provide some sort of prompt string, and we are able to replace that particular placeholder in the prompt string by using the prompt template. So let's implement another API called as top DJ. The idea is that this endpoint should be able to accept a year parameter, a path variable, and it should give us who was the top DJ for that particular year. So let's write the get mapping for the same, and what we have is a DJ, then a path variable year, string, let's call it top DJ, then we have a path variable represented by year. We will have two type of prompts in this one. The first one would be a system prompt, and the second one would be a user prompt. So I want to give some sort of overall characteristics to the system before I make the actual call endpoint of the OpenAI. So in order to do that, I will start with some sort of system prompt. So I start by writing a string for system text. So in order to save some time, I'll just copy paste the system text message which I have written already. So here is what I came up with. It says your name is this placeholder and you are an EDM expert and has lots of insights about the art of EDM creation. You have a deep understanding of usual trends of EDM and why an artist is liked by the masses, which results to them being the most listened and voted artist of the year. You should reply to the user request with this knowledge as one-liner information which tells why the particular EDM artist was voted world's number one and what subgenre of EDM the particular artist produces music in. You should also include your name in the response like I am, name, and here is why this artist was voted number one. After this, what we will do is we will create a prompt template. So let's go and check what is prompt template. So prompt template is a class and it had certain other implementations as well. I see that there is a implementation called as system prompt template. So why not make use of this one? So let's go and create a system prompt template. So we have a system prompt template. Let's call it as system prompt template, and the new system prompt template will expect us to pass some text, which is the system text. So this prompt template does provide us a create message method other than this add method. We will be making use of that. So system prompt template dot create message, and we can pass the map of. So basically we had one placeholder, the name, and let's pass the name, maybe call it as EDM, something like this. So now we can assign this to message, maybe call it as system message. After having the system message ready, we will also have to create a user message, right? So let's call it as user text. And in this one, we can just ask a simple question: who was the world number one DJ in the year? And then pass the placeholder for the year. So in the prompt template, we have assistant prompt template, function prompt template and system prompt template, but we don't have any user prompt template, so we will go with the normal prompt template and that should be fine. So let's create this prompt template, maybe call it as user prompt template, and then create the new prompt template, pass the user text. And like we did for the system prompt template, we can do the same for user prompt template as well, wherein we pass the create message, and this could be a map of year and the year. So now the user prompt template is done, and we will also have to assign this to some sort of message, maybe call as user message. Remember I told you that prompt is a kind of container wherein we have this list of messages, right? So basically we will do the same thing. We will create the prompt, let's call it as prompt, new prompt, and this will expect us to pass a list of messages. So first is the system message, then the user message, and this is where we have created the prompt. And now using this prompt we have to return the string which returns who is the top DJ for a given particular year. So we will return chat client dot call and we pass in the prompt, but this one returns the chat response. So out of the chat response we need to fetch the result which gives us the generation. From that we fetch the output, and from that we fetch the content. So now let's run it out and see what is the outcome like. Here in Postman, this is the second controller method, and now let's pass the year 1998. So here is the outcome. I am EDM AF01, and here is why DJ Tiesto was voted number 1 in 1998. He produces music in the trance subgenre, which was extremely popular at that point of time. Now let's go back to 1992. So I am so and so, and here is why artist was voted number 1. In 1992, the world number 1 DJ was Paul Oakenfold, known for his contribution to the trance subgenre of EDM. Let's go to 2010. I think it should be Armin van Buuren, and yes, he is the one. The reason is he produces music in the trance, known for its euphoric melodies and uplifting beats. Alright, seems like it's working as expected. So we were able to pass some sort of characteristics to the entire conversation by making use of the system text. So with the system text in place, whenever we are asking any question to the AI, it's adhering to the same kind of pattern each and every time. So that is the idea and intent behind this system role, and this is the idea behind this user role. So let's have a quick walkthrough inside what all things are contained inside this prompt and these different classes. So let's start with prompt. So prompt is essentially a class which majorly contains this particular thing, which is the list of message, and there are other chat options. So in the message what we have is the content, which is your actual content of the message. Then you have media. So basically what all things are supported by the AI model. Based on that you could pass list of media as well, which could be a audio or video and image and so on and so forth. And then you have the property. So basically here we are able to pass the different placeholders and all those things, right? So basically this is the property that we are able to pass. And in this one we have the message type. So message type is basically going to define the roles. So user is represented by user, assistant is represented by assistant, likewise we have for the system, and function. So quickly let's have a look around the different implementation of the message. So we have abstract message, of course, which has the common functionality. Then we have assistant, we have chat, we have user, system, function, etc. And likewise let's also have a quick look on the prompt template. So prompt template is implementing these two things, and prompt template has 3 implementations, as in assistant prompt template, function prompt template, and the system prompt template that we used just now in our use case. So in this example we will just limit our discussion to the system role and the user role. Function is something which is somewhat much more advanced, so we'll cover that in some later video in future. And assistant is anyway similar to what we discussed in this one. So you could basically combine this particular query and you could capture the assistant response in whatever the AI is going to respond. So basically this response you could capture as part of the assistant response and make use of that to build some sort of context. So in case if you have not seen my previous video where I discussed about how we can maintain some sort of temporary memory for the chat client that we are creating, you could refer to that video where I have discussed all these things in pretty much more details. So now let's look at this use case wherein we can externalize this particular text. So if you look, this does not look something which is very easy to manage, and ideally it should not be part of any particular Java class, right? So what is the way to do it? So in that sense, what we can do is we can have all these things created as a string template in the resources folder and then make use of that in our code base. So let's do that. So what we can do is we can copy this part. So let's go to the resources. Now let's create a directory called as prompts, and in this one let's create a file, call it as system top dj.st, that is string template, and let's paste the string that we had copied from there. So let's format it a bit so that it looks pretty and is easier to read. So with this in place, what we can do is we can go to prompt controller and we can fetch this value by having this injected as private resource, maybe call as top dj, and then annotate with value. The URL could be class path, then prompts, then system top-dj.st. And in order to make use of this, instead of system text, what we can write is we can replace this with top dj. Why so? Because system prompt template also has a constructor which expects us to pass a resource. So likewise, we can pass the resource and this is still works as expected. So we have that system prompt template, and let's rerun it once and see how it's working now, just to ensure that it's working as expected. Let's go to Postman, give 2017, and the top DJ would be Martin with whatever property he has in his music. So this is one way to sort of keep your code implementation clean, which is to externalize all your prompts as a string template in the resource folder, and you could probably do the same thing for this as well as an exercise. So yes, this should be it for this video. I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. Thanks for sticking with me till last. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I hope this video added some value. If so, please hit that like button and share with your friends. Your honest feedback in the comments is valuable to me. I regularly post informative videos for software engineering and computer science. Don't forget to hit the bell for instant updates. Take care and stay awesome.